Savage Dragon 106 from December of 2002. 'Tis the season for Christmas stocking. Better late than never, which is apropos for this issue because despite the December cover date, this thing hit shelves in April of 2003. But there is truth in advertising. Dragon flying Santa's sleigh, attacked by the Seeker, all that awaits inside. We have a bittersweet credits page. For one last time, Eric Larson, writer, artist, Chris Eliopoulos, letterer, Ruben Rude, colorist, and Josh Eckhorn cast away on the island of misfit toys. So this is the final issue for both Chris Eliopoulos and Ruben Rude. This has been the team for 106 issues, which is just an incredible run that is only more impressive as time goes on because you rarely see that kind of longevity for a creative team anymore. Larson has a whole lot more to say about this in a statement in the back, so I'll read some of that when we get to it, but this is a big deal for the book, simultaneously losing its letterer and colorist, so he doesn't take that lightly. On to the story, Christmas Stocking. Though speaking of the lettering, this title looks really great. It looks like the font you'd see on like a Christmas Carol or some other Dickens story. And while I'm dropping literary references, let's talk about the second-person narration used in the captions here. I don't recall any other time that there was a second-person narration in this comic where you are Savage Dragon. It's kind of a interesting choice there. On to the story here, on to the action. Dragon and Jennifer, they take a trip through the danger zone on the outskirts of Chicago. This is an area inhabited by the outcast and freaks, thieves and vermin, remnants of the savage world, including some that we last saw in issue 76. This commandy-looking guy in the Daisy Dukes, and then this gigantic purple monster named Rude Head. These assholes, they want to steal Dragon's flying car, so they start chucking rocks at it, trying to bring the vehicle down. And Jennifer leaps out, taking the fight to these guys. She tells Dragon to go park the car. And then after, I think, there's the Thing right there in the background. Looks like Spider-Man right there. So after they defeat these freaks, they discover that William Johnson, a.k.a. Star, he's horribly injured, but he tells them that they also took Rita hostage. So now the manhunt, or the woman hunt, begins. Dragon recruits the Liberty League to help with the search party. Rex Dexter using science to detect traces of Martian radiation that Rita could possess. Super Patriot and Mighty Man, they hit the streets. Dragon and Jennifer, they help out looking for Rita on this snowy winter day. When suddenly the book goes in an unexpectedly bizarre direction. An elf. This ankle biter from the North Pole, he tells Dragon that Santa Claus is also missing. And this elf has come to the Savage Dragon, known for saving the world twice now. The hero who could replace Santa and drive his sleigh to bring presents to all the good boys and girls. In exchange for his services, the elf will help find his friend Rita. No mention of trying to find Santa Claus. We'll get to that later, but Jennifer, she volunteers Dragon for the job. And we are off, and we are in this thing. One page over, and we're at the North Pole. This caption reads, as surreal turns go, this one's a doozy. So Dragon has brought the whole family, including Mr. Glum, to Santa's home. Got the elves prepping the reindeer for the flight. This feels like almost something out of a South Park episode or something like that, but this book can get away with it. Hell, Santa Claus, he was established as a character back in issue 70, so this is just par for the course. Meanwhile, back at Chicago, the Liberty League, they're trying to find Rita, and they activate a signal that triggers the missing woman to grow into enormous proportions. The 60-foot woman demolishing the building she was captured in. Once again, Rita is gigantic and naked and pissed. She tries to crush this guy in her bare hands, but Mighty Man stops her from murdering the creep. And now Dragon's gig is St. Nick. It's stopped short, just one page. Our old pal, the Seeker. He catches up to the Dragon at the worst possible time. This asshole starts blasting Santa's sleigh. So Dragon leaps at the guy. He smashes his glider, but that also disintegrates Dragon's right hand, so that sucks. They go spilling into the snow, and the fight continues. Dragon tries to beat some information out of this guy, but he doesn't say a peep. Seeker is just a silent attacker. Then Jennifer tosses her husband a lifeline. Dragon grabs the rope with his good arm, and they take off. But then Dragon's other hand gets blown off. This Seeker's a real bastard, man. And the Dragon has to bite the rope with his teeth, holding on. and then he boots the Seeker in the face, sending him crashing into the snowy wilderness without a ride. So he's properly fucked. Now we're back home at Christmas morning. It says here in the captions that Santa Claus was rescued by Omni-Man, of all people. So Invincible's dad saved Christmas. Dragon has both his hands wrapped up to regenerate. Rita and William are celebrating the holiday together. Rita, still larger than normal, but apparently now she can alter her size at will. So she just became a very useful, superpowered person. And that just leaves the Seeker down here. Walking in the snow, his relentless hunt for the Savage Dragon continues. So let's talk more about this guy, the Seeker. He premiered back in issue 87, where he's fighting the dragon in Godworld. And then again, he shows up here in issue 106. And it's going to be 15 years before we see him again. And fans do not let this dude go. Theories and letters talking about the Seeker. When are we going to see the Seeker again? What's the deal with the Seeker? What's the origin of the Seeker? I have an idea where it comes. It never ends for a decade and a half until 2017, issue 228. A controversial issue for sure, but one that features the return of the Seeker, where he is unceremoniously killed off and never really explained again. Let's see if I can find. Yeah, there he is. He's dead there. Anyway, Larson doesn't really explain much. In the letters page here, he actually says something like, "For those of you who have built an involved, what is this? For those of you who have built some involved background story for the Seeker in your head and were massively disappointed by the tepid reveal, well, sorry. I never said he was anything more than just another guy. That was all on you." Basically, the Seeker is like Boba Fett of the Savage Dragon universe, just a silent badass bounty hunter, loved by fans, but then unceremoniously killed off in the Sarlacc pit. Of course, there's more letters to come after his demise, and Larson reiterates, the Seeker was always intended to be what you've seen. There was never supposed to be a big secret to the Seeker. There are no secrets to be had. There wasn't anybody in particular. He wasn't anybody in particular. He was just a bounty hunter or assassin sent by Cyberface to take down the dragon, and he never got the memo that Cyberface was overthrown and killed. I had considered shoehorning in some other nonsense just to appease the readers that were expecting there to be more to him, but anything I came up with would have been after the fact. No breadcrumbs that the readers could have looked at to see how it all fit together. They assumed more to him than meets the eye, but there wasn't anything there. So there you have it from Larson himself. It was all in your head, dorks. Anyway, that's enough of the Seeker. Next is Comic Bits by Chris Giarrusso, a tale of an evil Christmas tree that comes to life, and he steals the family car. Next is Fanatics with a lengthy statement by Larson explaining that Chris Eliopoulos and Ruben Rude are leaving the book, and he thanks them for years of quality work that they've done. And I'll just pull from some of the bits here. Larson says, "I saw this one coming. It made no sense for Chris to continue working on this book. Savage Dragon was the last book that he lettered by hand. All his other work was done on the computer. He could letter an entire book on the computer in the time it takes to hand letter a few pages of Savage Dragon. As if losing Chris wasn't a big enough blow, this will also be the last issue for Ruben Rude. Both Chris and Ruben are friends as well as collaborators. Not more than a few days passed between phone calls between us, so it's not easy to say goodbye to these guys. I'm still trying to figure out my options here. I've lined up a new letterer, and I might just try a few different colorists over the next few issues. Heck, I might even try coloring myself. So while I'll miss Ruben and Chris, I'm kind of excited to see what other people might bring to the table." End quote. So a lot of sappy stuff here, understandably. Larson mentions that he's also going to get the book back up to speed next issue. So here's his genius plan. Like I said, issue 106 has a December date on the cover, hit shelves in April. Issue 107 will come out in May and have a cover date of May. So he's skipping 3 or 4 months just to catch up. But that's easier said than done. They're going to miss 3 months of solicitations in the previous catalog. So things are changing around here, including this edition of Fanatics. There have only been like 1 or 2 pages in the last couple of issues, but this one is like a beefy 6 pages. Though, of course, one letter goes fucking 3 pages here, so what's the point? Yeah, that letter goes all the way here. This other lengthy letter, Greg O'Driscoll, he mentions that most of the fans are online, congregated at the message boards at savagedragon.com. So he thinks writing a long-ass letter will help things somehow. I don't know about that. Other than that, just a lot of catching up for issues 102, 103, 104. Not too much noteworthy stuff, which brings us all the way to the back cover and an ad for issue 107, the 48-page crossover spectacular, which we're going to be covering next. Adios.